Hi everybody, Rob here from the Oyster House Boys, and a little while back I did a kind of introductory overview of this thing here, which is the Fusion System 2 from Erica Synths, and it's a bit of a beast, really good for kind of drones and aggressive things. But I said, and a few people had asked if they could hear it again, partly because the audio levels were a little bit out, but partly because it was kind of on its own. So I said I'd do some video and some sound footage with it in place with some other equipment. So I'll just run you through very quickly what I've got set up. Okay, so we have one VCO, and this one is going, it's taking its pitch information from marbles. In fact, everything is getting its volts per octave from marbles. The pulse width is being modulated by one of the Fusion modulators envelope generators. Then the output is coming into the Pittsburgh modular state variable filter, which, as I've said before, is my favorite filter of all time. It's not the only one I use, but I love it. And that's being modulated by Oct, or OCHD, depending on what you want to call it, which is just, it's basically a third hand twiddling around with the filter cutoff. That then goes into the tip-top DSP, the ZDSP, which is running the Niflheim chip from the Valhalla, the algorithm from the Valhalla chip, which is there, and it's pretty wet. It's about 70% wet, I would have said, and that's in channel 1. I then have VCO2 up here, and this is also getting its volts per octave, as I said, from marbles, and the output from here is going into the Roland 521 filter, which is also a really lovely filter, which is being modulated by envelope generator 2 from the Fusion modulator. I really like these two. You can do quite a lot with them. They have attack and decay, and then on and off, which is a little bit like, you know, sustain and then a cycle stage, and it works really well. Anyway, I digress. So the output of that goes into the filter here, and then this comes into the Roland 530 VCA, which then comes into channel 2 of the DSP, which is obviously running the same algorithm, the same chip, just mixed very slightly differently. You might wonder what this cluster of wires is here. I'll just talk about that. That's just the DivKid mutes, and for a performance tool, I think it's absolutely fascinating and just really useful, because basically it's got a momentary switch, an off position and an on position, which basically means you can switch channels on and off. So really this is just kind of an insert in my signal chain which has a switch. So I'll just switch one momentarily. So this is channel 1, which is starting with the VCO2 up here. And then I'll do the third channel, which is similar. This is VCO2 doing its thing. There's also a little bit of disting Mark 4 tape delay on this. It's quite subtle, but it helps to separate the two. Pitch information from both of these two is slightly different, so they're using the same scale and the same settings for marbles, but they're on different outputs, so you get a different result. And then the center one, this is a bit different again. It's a little bit rounder, a little bit smoother than the Erica Synths VCOs. It's less aggressive, and that's not a bad thing. It's not better or worse, they're just different. But this is the 512 from Roland, part of the System 500, which I adore, I love it. This is getting pitch information from X3 on the marbles, and that goes the pulse width, which is not being modulated. I normally would, but that meant that just made too much. I had to try it. It made too much kind of warbliness in this, and I didn't think it suited the patch. That goes into the 521 filter as well in the other channel, and then that comes through into this VCA, which is then going into my switch, into the tape delay, and then straight into Veils, which I'm basically using as a kind of mixer. So I'll just bring all three together So having the switch means I can take out that middle section. I could take out one of the channels, which is the more evolving, softly kind of scooping, droney thing. And I can choose a moment in time to bring one back. So I might just go, that's the second one. And then if I want to bring the more melodic section back in, I can either press to the left for just a momentary hit of that. I'll let go after just the 2 notes played. These are all Vactrolled, which means you don't get kind of a click when you do a momentary switch on and off. It's a little bit more musical, a little bit more pleasing, which means you can punch in a note, which I think works really, really well. Having the little bit of tape delay helps as well, because it just helps kind of mean you don't get an abrupt stop. You could just mix with veils. I could just take that out. I could turn them all on and just mix this way. But personally, I like to be able to do the melodic thing with the switch. I think a second one of these for more elaborate setups would be good. Be interested in taking one of those and putting it next to Metropolis, or even with stages, and using it to kind of interactively swap out different parts of a sequence. Anyway, let's just turn these off, just so you can hear what I'm saying again. So I hope that's been a more interesting look at the Fusion System 2 from Erica Synths. It's a wonderful setup. Now, I've not even used all the modules in this patch. You can see I didn't use the filter, didn't use the VCA wave shaper ring mod, or the fusion delay flanger thing. I'll do another patch maybe in a week or so after I've done some other things that I've got planned, and show you that. I know some of you wanted to see it used with a more traditional sequencer, so what I might do for the next video is just get this thing in and we'll program something that way, which might be interesting. So hopefully that's answered some of your questions. I'm going to leave it playing now. I've recorded already. Just I'll let that run for, I don't know, 6-7 minutes or so. So I'll let that run and you can listen to it. Please let me know in the comments if this was useful, interesting, if you like the music, if you like the sound, if there's something you'd like to see more of or less of, probably my face. Please do like the video and subscribe, but more importantly, leave a comment. It means the world, and I love hearing what you have to say. And anyway, I've been Rob, and I'll see you all again soon. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.